attention to this meeting and it has been put in the warning both on Front Porch Forum and on the town of Guilford's website. So if you need to get in touch and you want to join the meeting, and you can't go to the invitation. Very good. So we're meeting. This is an emergency session, and I just want to give you a little background. As you know, Penny Marie was on vacation in Florida, and she came back from Florida on Sunday, I guess it was, and went to the office on Monday, and her staff reacted rather frighteningly to the fact that Penny had not followed the protocol of getting tested and either quarantining for 1 week and getting tested or quarantining for 2 weeks, which is in the executive's. It's not an option. It's in the government's executive order, and it's not mediatable. That's the law, basically. Now, as you know, the Selectboard, Penny does not report to the Selectboard. We're not her supervisor, but Peter had spoken to me, and Peter had transmitted to me what other staff had said to him, who worked in the town office. I called our health. What is Richard's?
He's the town health officer.
He's the town health officer, and Richard, I would say, was quite concerned about it, and emailed Penny to say that you have to either quarantine, according to the law, you have to quarantine for 1 week and get a test, or quarantine for 2 weeks. So we didn't know what Penny's intentions were. We have subsequently found out now, discovered that Penny was tested today, and told Richard Davis that, and also said to Richard Davis by email that she was going to stay home for 7 days. So that really is wonderful news, and it's the right news that we want to have. And Peter and I still believe that we should have a motion to close the town office until it can be disinfected, because it has to be disinfected, because we don't know what the result of Penny's test is. And even if we did know the result of that Penny's test was negative, we don't know whether there's enough time, the time period where she was, where the test would have been able to capture her infected. Because as you know, the test only tells you where you are at the particular time that you're getting it. So, is everybody following that background information? Okay. So I think, and Peter agrees with me, and I spoke to Richard, and he agrees with me as well, that we ought to close the town office to all persons. So that would include all staff. And while we don't have supervision over the town staff, we do have authority over the town building, which belongs to the town, but is under the authority of the Selectboard. So we do have the authority to do this. So what I would like us to consider is a motion that closes the town office until it is disinfected, and at the discretion, but allow staff in at the discretion of the Selectboard, so that once it is disinfected, and I asked Peter to see if we could get it disinfected immediately, and Peter thinks that we can get it disinfected tonight, actually, which would be very good. And so we would have disinfected. So this motion would deal with a potentially disinfected building at this point, and also allow us the discretion to have the staff come in if they ask permission from the Selectboard, except for Penny, who has to quarantine for 7 days. And Peter is suggesting that Martha has to quarantine for 7 days or 2 weeks because she's been in the presence of Penny yesterday and today. Peter, did you want to say something?
I did. I just wanted to note that in all three of the points that Richard just made, that they're not personal opinion from me or from Richard, that this has come on recommendation both from VLCT as well as from staff within the Vermont Agency of Commerce and Community Development. So it's not a personal opinion. This has come from those who have participated in the creation of this current regulation.
Yep, that's Helen.
Are we at liberty to ask questions at this point, or do you want to run on the table?
No, well, there hasn't been a motion made, so we can still discuss what
Okay.
the motion is.
So, I just want to understand if the building is sanitized this evening. Does that mean that it's essentially clear immediately afterward?
Yes.
So tomorrow morning would be okay for people to go back to work if
Yes, except for those who have to quarantine.
Yes, yeah, okay.
So, but basically, those who would have to quarantine comes to Peter and Ellen. Right? If the
And
select
Lisa.
board thinks that we cannot, we can only recommend to Marta that she quarantine.
Correct.
So, that's what we would do, is recommend that she does, but if she doesn't, we could do two things. We could keep the building closed and
yeah.
not allow her to come into the building because that we would make the motion that would give us that authority to do that. I guess that's the only option, really. Right? Yeah, Peter.
Richard, I can confirm from communicating with Marta this afternoon that if requested to do so, she would comply.
Okay.
Aren't you supposed to get it tested 7 days after you return?
Yes.
So should the testing be done 7 days after?
Well, I think that Penny should get a test 7 days after today.
Correct.
And we can't make her do that, but we can recommend that. That would be the protocol that we're following. Yeah. And Marta, we can recommend that she quarantine for 7 days and then get tested.
Correct.
Now, there's the question also, just as background material, Peter, you were writing to me about how do we get office business done, like the payroll.
Correct. So if the question I had for Richard, the issue of biggest concern that arose for me was getting payroll done on Mondays, and if both Marta and Penny, Penny is the treasurer and Marta is the assistant treasurer, are under quarantine, who would be available to complete payroll for all employees on next Monday, because obviously their quarantine would extend beyond next Monday. If it started tonight, that it would extend until next Tuesday evening.
Now, of course, I don't know whether Penny has remote access or Marta has remote access. If they don't, maybe we could do something that helps provide it to them for this week, for this quarantine period.
Yes, that could be an option. I do know that Penny does have a town laptop. We would have to work with her to get that set up. She could use the same software that Lisa and I use to remotely access our computers, and she can access everything that she would need. She'd have to find some way. There's a few other details we just have to work out in the background that we don't need to discuss here. But yes, that would be possible. As I have shared with Richard offline, at the moment the town does not have an additional laptop for Marta to be able to do her job remotely. For both Penny and Marta, if they are under quarantine, federal law requires the town to continue paying them during their time of quarantine.
Right. And I would say that, remember that we did this with the highway crew, with 3 members of the highway crew. We required them, because we do have supervision over them, we passed a motion that required them to quarantine, and that we would pay them, and that they would get tested and so forth, and that worked out quite well.
Now, I don't know the answer to this. We would have to ask Penny, is because Ellie is Penny's employee. If Ellie has the ability to do payroll, she may not, because she is not the treasurer. I do not know the answer to that. So because Ellie has not been at the office this week.
I can answer that. She cannot do it.
Okay, thank you, Rusty.
So did you have a question or comment?
You know.
I think Penny was saying something, Richard.
What did you say, Penny?
Well, I had tested this morning,
Right.
and I did speak to Richard Davis,
Yeah.
and I'm not going into the office.
Great.
I had to go in yesterday to do payroll and actually straighten out a couple things from the last warrant. But either way, it's done, and I'm out of the office.
We appreciate that, Penny. Thank you very much.
And just letting you know, I had no temperature, my blood pressure was great, and no symptoms. So.
I wish I could say that about my blood pressure.
I wish I could go on vacation.
Okay, John, did you have a question or comment or?
Well, I wondered if just information because I just don't know, and so are all checks deposited via ACH directly into banking accounts?
No, payroll is done this week. It's fine.
Oh,
The question the question is for next week. Next week.
Next week.
Well, by next week, I have met my obligation for quarantining.
On Monday?
Yes. Yep. And if you want to confirm that, you can talk to Richard Davis.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
You know, Richard told
And I
me.
did the PCF, is that what it's called?
The PCR.
PCR.
PCR, I did that one. Yeah.
Very good, thank you, Penny.
You're welcome.
Okay, so is there any discussion or questions that we need to?
Well, I'd like to say something, because I really need to do payroll. We're at the end of the year. It will be the last payroll for the end of the year. And I know Ellie is having a hard time, which is understandable. So if it's okay or the select board to have discussion, I know my quarantining actually is okay come Monday, but if it's okay with you or makes her feel more comfortable, if she does not want to come in on Monday, I have no problem with that. She wasn't there yesterday, so I had no contact with her yesterday.
Right. I think you're going to have to get another PCR test. Is that correct?
No.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, that's what states.
It's supposed to be 7 days after you return.
I don't know. I'll have to check into that.
Yeah, check into that. But that is the law says 7 days, and you took the test on your first day back, but the law requires it 7 days back and then test. So it's great that you took the test, but I think you should take another one. I would advise taking another one, but you can check that out with Richard.
Yeah, and I will communicate with him and with all of you.
Great. I want to say that, Penny, we really appreciate your cooperation. This is very important.
Yeah.
Yes, thank you.
Okay, so shall we make the motion? Are you okay, Michael?
Yeah,
Rusty, are you okay?
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. I'm just checking in with the peeps. It's always okay.
So explain to me then, if we're going to get the building sanitized this evening, we would close it for how long?
I think we should close it for 7 days.
After
From today, 7 days from today, but with the caveat that it is sanitized and that staff can ask permission. Non-quarantine staff can ask permission to enter. Now, Peter.
Just as far as the cleaning company come to disinfect the office, tonight was the earliest that they could get there. He was going to do his best to do so, but he could not guarantee it. He will contact me once the work has been completed, which I will obviously notify the select board upon that as well.
So we could say in the motion 7 days after disinfection.
Okay, I just want to get it.
Does that sound right? Do you want me to make the motion? I'm happy to make the motion. I move that the select board close the town office building to all people, including staff, for a period of 7 days following the disinfection of the building, and with the caveat that staff who are not quarantined could enter the building with permission of the select board. How does that sound?
Second.
All right, I have a second. Is there any further discussions or questions?
So, I'm sorry, staff can ask for permission before or after 7 days of the building being sanitized?
They can ask to get enter before the 7 day period.
Okay.
I have a question.
Yes.
So that would mean that the staff who aren't quarantining would need to call you or Peter to get permission to enter the building?
No, call me
Okay.
as the representative of the select board.
Because if someone just called me, I would refer them to the select board. So
John?
So do we need to make a second motion in a moment, or does this motion imply, Richard, that you have authority to speak on behalf of the select board?
nose on. That needs to be a separate.
So we need to authorize. We would need to authorize.
Okay. Can I make that motion?
Let's finish the first motion before we finish the.
Oh, yes, I have to vote on the motion.
I
Okay.
just
So is
want
there any discussion or question on the first motion?
So would you like me to read it, Richard?
Yes, please.
Richard moved that the select board close the town office to all people, including staff, for 7 days following disinfection of the building. With the caveat, staff not under quarantine may enter with approval of the select board.
Good.
And Zahn seconded.
Okay. Are there any further comments? Okay, I'm going to take the roll. Zahn?
Aye.
Miranda?
Aye.
Rusty?
I will abstain.
Okay, I think that's wise. Michael?
Aye.
Richard? Aye. The motion carries with no extension. Thank you very much. Now we're on to the next motion. Thank you, John.
I will move that the select board authorize Richard to act on our behalf with pertaining to this particular question.
Okay, great. Is there a second?
I'll
I
second.
will.
Okay, Michael seconded. Is there any discussion, questions? All right, I shall take the roll. Zahn?
Aye.
Miranda?
Aye.
Rusty?
Aye.
Michael?
Aye.
Richard? Aye. The motion carries unanimously. Thank you very much. That's the end of the emergency.
Good night, everybody.
Good night.
Do you want to have a motion to adjourn, please?
Welcome home, Rusty.
Thank you.
Motion to adjourn, please. A motion to adjourn.
Second.
Okay, I'll take the roll. Zahn?
Aye.
Miranda?
Aye.
Rusty?
Aye.
Michael?
Aye.
Richard? Aye. Okay, the meeting is adjourned. Thank you very
Happy
much.
holidays.
Thank you. Happy holidays, everyone.